Okay, so let's just go ahead and fill in the butterfly. I have this color that's a Martha Stewart multi-surface satin color in Tangy Tangerine and Beach Glass. For now, these are both Martha Stewart colors, but seriously, like whatever colors you have, that's what you should use. So you don't have to copy what I'm doing exactly. And right now I'm just using, we got a bunch of paper plates that these styrofoam plates that people gave us, and I'm using those as palettes because obviously they're not, anyway. So that's what I'm using as a palette. I won't go into that. I'm going to go ahead and with this brush, honestly, the number 6 round brush and the number 2 round brush have been my go-to brushes lately. I mean, I would really recommend those two brushes as staples. I used to only use flat brushes, and now it feels like I only use round brushes for whatever reason. Okay, so I'm going to go into my butterfly with this orangey color. I'm not sure if it's going to fill in the way that I like it to, but I'm going to give it a go. So this is almost like coloring in a coloring book, only with paint. So you're just going inside of the lines, but you're leaving, you can leave just a little bit of the tan color outside of it. I just think it gives it an interesting effect. This is a fairly transparent color, and so it's kind of leaving thick lines that I don't like, and so I'm just brushing over it to kind of get rid of those thick textural lines that I don't like. Some people really like texture, and I do like texture, but this is not the kind of texture that I like. This is more just the paint isn't really my favorite. I kind of wondered that when I poured it onto my palette. I felt like I remembered that. I hope I'm not getting an echo. I kind of am hearing something that's echoey. I think it's this guitar right here. Hold on. Okay, that's better. That's funny. That guitar was right behind me, hanging on the wall, and everything I was saying was echoing into that. I didn't notice it before. I hope it didn't do that with my videos before this. Sorry if it did. Okay, so I'm just going through here. Oh, just a little piece of me to make me believe in the light you think you see. 'Cause I can't belong if you won't hold on to me, and I am afraid that I might not be enough for you. So don't walk away. Oh, don't. Okay, so now I'm going to go into the blue color that we already have laid down here, that Bahama blue, and I'm going to go over it with a beach glass. Now, the whole point of this, right? So if you're wondering what colors to use, the point is that I'm using two shades that are kind of a lighter and a darker of each other. So the shade that's already down is a darker color, and this shade is a lighter. So whatever you use, you can always just add white to it and go back in after it's dried. So that's what I'm going to do now. And I'm not going all the way in. I'm just giving movement lines, if that makes sense. So I'm just giving it like little swishes. See what I'm saying there? I don't even know if you can see it. Maybe I should add some more white to it. Okay, so here's a white. And I'm just going to add a little bit of white to it just to give it even a lighter color so it's not so close to that first color, so you can really see what I'm doing, hopefully. So I'm just giving it swishes. So this kind of just gives it the impression, because this isn't a moving picture, this is just a painting. So the painting is supposed to tell a story, right? And so in these swishes, it kind of tells the story that there's movement here, okay? And this is just supposed to be artistically done, right? Like, you're not supposed to be doing it in a super perfectionist way. You're just supposed to be doing it like, oh yeah, I'm an artist and I'm just putting swishes in there, right? If you try to do it too perfect, it'll probably not look as good. So it's just mostly just like you being expressive. And in these smaller areas, you can use a smaller brush. I'm just using the very tip of my brush, and I might even go in and retouch up my black lines if I go over them. So you don't have to worry about that really. You can always just go back over and fix those. Okay, that's it. I mean, that's all my swishes. So I would say that now just go in to all of your areas and paint them in whatever colors you so choose, and then we'll come back together. You can paint them in and then do swishes in your little areas if you want to, but I'll just leave that up to you. I just want you to make choices and then be happy with those choices. So it's just like coloring in a coloring book, but it's with paint. You might want to use a smaller brush, like I said, because these are little areas, and I'll go ahead and paint mine, and then I'll come back and talk in a minute. Okay, so one thing I wanted to tell you is that in these areas I did use like a lighter swish inside of each one of these little things. So I used like a pinky color, and I mixed it with the orange that I did for the butterfly, because I try to really tie in all of my colors, and then I got a green and I mixed it with that whatever color that was, the beach glass. So I try to keep my colors pretty consistent in the whole thing. So if you can mix a little bit of the other colors with the colors that you use, like the subsequent colors, just to keep I don't even know the word for it, but it just keeps it consistent. It keeps it looking like the colors should go together. And then I used white in each one of those colors second after I filled it in, just to give it swishes. Right now it's super messy because I'm going to go back in with the black pen and I'm not even caring about it. So just don't let that worry you at all. I just wanted to give you that little note as I was painting. Okay, so now that I did all of that, I did put some little swishes inside my butterfly here, just those lighter colored swishes. I'm going back through, I'm cleaning up all my lines. This is a Micron, actually it's a Prismacolor Premier number 8 fine line pen. I went out and bought these after our last video because I realized all of my pens were pretty well toast, and they're really good. So if you're looking for a great pen, this is a really good one. I got mine on coupon can't remember what I paid for them, but there's like a, you know, a variety of very, very small pins and then some bigger ones. Let's see, what all do I want to tell you? So, you're cleaning up your lines. You've given yourself some directional lines and some directional swishes inside of your painting. And honestly, I feel like after this, you could just be done. But I'll just leave that up to you. I'm going to go in with some colored pencil and give it some different textures and that just to give you more to work with after I clean up these lines. I just thought I'd talk to you a little bit while I'm cleaning up the lines and tell you how things are going for me. Some of you watched my painting that I did of the mother and the child. I should post that on the Birds and the Bees group just so everybody knows what I'm talking about. I know everybody's not my friend, which you're welcome to go friend me, by the way. I pretty much accept everybody's friend requests except for crazy men. But anyway, this week was better than the weeks before, or this 2 weeks. I guess we do this every 2 weeks. It was hard though, so it was hard work. Grief is hard work, and I worked through some things. I chose to keep myself busy. You know, one of the things, you read two sides of the story when you're reading grief books, but one of the things that they talk about is not keeping yourself too busy. I've found that if I keep myself productive, that I'm happier. If I just sit around on my chair and watch Netflix all the time, I don't stay happy. That doesn't keep me consistent. So I tried to stay in the studio most of the time, and stay busy. But I painted my first big painting since Andrew passed. A lot of you don't know me very well, so you don't know necessarily what I did before this, but before Andrew passed away, I always kept a large quantity of large paintings for outdoor shows, which is what I did mostly for the last however many years. I mean, really, it's going on 18 years now. I'm looking at doing more workshops and doing more indoor stuff this year, so we'll see what happens with that. But anyway, so I painted my first large painting, which I knew was going to take a lot of energy, and I painted the mother and child. I was so frustrated with painting the child because it just never quite looked right, which obviously, you know, I lost my child, and I wanted that to be perfect. And the truth of the matter is that our story is not perfect. And as much as I preach to you, don't worry about it being perfect, you know, for me, I needed that to be perfect. I wanted to portray that picture perfect. And my story is not perfect. My picture is not perfect. And neither is yours or any of ours. And so it was a great lesson for me. I covered the face and posted that on Facebook and said I just couldn't do it. And then I had some friends that reprimanded me and messaged me and said the child has to go back in. You have to add that child. And so I cried, you know, on my husband's shoulder and just said, this is so hard, you know. And then I just went ahead and did it. I added the child back in. It's not perfect, but it's beautiful. The story is beautiful. Your story is beautiful no matter what it is. So even if there's tragedy in the midst of your story is beautiful. And I just want you to remember that. I want you to remember that, you know, you worked really hard to become this butterfly, and your life is really difficult to come out of that cocoon, and you just have to find the beauty in it, no matter what. No matter how tragic it is, you need to find the beauty in that. And so that was the lesson this week, and I hope you come away with something out of that, and out of this butterfly, and realize that the work that you're doing right now in your life and the hard things that you're going through are producing beauty. Even though they may not look like it right now, they're producing a beautiful thing.